hey, why wouldn't Meta release all the training scripts and the data cleaning scripts and all of that and the data sources and stuff? We've licensed a bunch of proprietary data sets that are only usable in certain contexts, and we can't release all of the data, and we don't have the rights to it. And like, things are getting legitimate and real, and a company like Meta has a painted target on its back, and we have to really do this right. Now, other AGI startups, they can do whatever, and I'm sure it's okay. Which is the third character. AGI startups, a bunch of researchers doing every research while burning GPU money, and the CEO goes to investors asking for more money. They have great compute resources, maybe not as much as the industry labs. They have great engineering resources. I think they don't care as much about data legality because they don't have a painted target and they're in a rush. They do worry about direct safety impact and indirect societal impact, and they care deeply about capital returns because they need money to power the research. So, and a variation of this is vertical AI startups, such as Runway, Harvey, a bunch of these startups that are solving one task, but solving it deeply. They don't have as much compute resources as, say, the AGI startups, but they do have a good amount. They have a lot of engineering resources. They're kind of also, I would say they're neutral to don't care about data legality unless they become popular. They worry only mildly about direct and indirect safety and societal impact because, again, what they're doing is very like a thin sliver, one task, and they're doing it depth first. So they don't have to care about the broad implications. And they do care deeply about capital returns, and they're in a rush. And there's the Reddit characters, which they don't have many compute resources, engineering resources. They really don't care about data legality. They also don't care about safety worries. They kind of are neutral on everything else, and they're not in a rush at all. They're just here to have fun. And regular people using AI, they kind of worry about societal impact, but otherwise they just want to use it. They don't care. Businesses care about data legality, direct safety impact, and capital returns. Why did I introduce all these characters? I want to put them in an open versus closed chart. And the academics and large company industry researchers stand somewhere in the middle, like the academics leaning slightly to the left and industry researchers slightly to the right. The AGI startups definitely are on the right, but also the vertical AI startups. And the Reddit researchers just want everything open because their fundamental identity is that they're going on the internet and they are not part of a larger group other than the internet, and so they want more things on the internet. The complexity, I gave you this boring, long, 6 slides of main characters because I wanted to explain to you that everyone is running multiple objective functions. It is a complex, multi-objective optimization that multiple of these characters are running, and you need to understand how they interact with each other. And the other deeply consequential thing is with generative AI models that are state-of-the-art, barely anything has been measurable without deployment. Evals are a huge problem, both for general AI models and vertical AI models, and that compounds the overall thing because when everyone's running with multiple objective functions and barely anything has been measurable without deployment, you assume the worst about disagreements. And this is how it turns into a culture war. So one of the questions is hey, closed AI helps save proliferation, ? And the Reddit people or some set of academics or industry researchers are wait, if this thing has a chance to be unsafe, wouldn't you want it to be distributed to more people to study before it enters products? Or the other view is, well, well, if it's going to only enter, it's going to become like a mutant AGI in less than 2 years, we really can't allow wide proliferation. So it's the answer to this question, how you answer it strongly depends on like your timelines for reaching superhuman intelligence of some sort. The other very popular question that comes up is, hey, is keeping AI closed, is it a national advantage? Like, are we going to have a geopolitical advantage to keeping it closed? And I think the thing that largely this question slices on is, do you believe in the algorithmic mode or do you believe in the resource mode? Like, for example, do you believe a lot of these models are great because they use more resources and more flops and more data? Or are they great because they have some secret ways of training the model architectures and the training recipe? Are they secret? If you believe in the algorithmic mode, then you're going to answer, oh, no, closed AI is a national advantage. We can't open up our model secrets. If you believe it's actually like, it largely doesn't matter how you, what's the model recipe, you throw more flops and data and you get great things, then you're going to say, well, like keeping the model itself closed is not that much of an advantage. And in fact, it's slowing down the AI progress in the direction that we are going through because we're not opening it and not having ecosystem effects be leveraged. So I think that's like the ways in which this question gets sliced. And then AI is better when regulated. In general, like this question gets asked a lot in various forms and types. And honestly, I think this boils down to how much you trust institutions. If you grew up in a climate where you don't trust institutions very much, then you say, no, that's just going to become regulatory capture. Or if you grew up in an environment where you trust institutions, then you say, no, like actually, like I think it's going to help with many things. So the only thing I want to give as an opinion here is there's like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 kinds of people who are all with various multiple complex objectives interacting with each other to get to certain outcomes. Some of them want open AI, and some of them want closed AI. But let's move forward with nuance and not extreme opinions because we're very early in the proliferation of AI, and AI research is far from being over, and we cannot get to an extreme so quickly. Okay, where do I stand? That's a good question. So this is just my opinion, okay? Not my employer's. I think full AI automation is far away. Creating complex end-to-end utility without needing humans in the loop is far away. So when I have that opinion, largely I like just that my AGI timelines are very far, and hence I think I just fall into AI being open as net good. We should integrate slowly and carefully into products, understand effects, regulate at a product and task level, and not at the, hey, should you even open up your models and understand them level? And there is lots more AI research left to do. AI being open will accelerate this research, and I think the net benefits are more on the open side. I also have lower trust in the ability of institutions to undo regulation under capital pressure. I think if there are companies that are lobbying for AI to be closed because of AGI concerns today, I have lower trust that when all the AGI concerns go away, that their ability to not just regulatory capture the whole thing is going to be difficult. I just don't trust this to play out the way it should play out. So this is where I stand. I stand unapologetically towards the open source, open models, open weights for all these reasons. Now I'll talk a little bit about the conditions for openness to thrive. What are the conditions for openness to thrive? I think I already mentioned this. R&D labs if there are funded R&D labs with very long-term view on returns, and if you don't have short-term pressure, time pressure or capital pressure, then usually you would want to just open things because you don't care about these short-term effects. If the projects have a small amount of people, or they have clear evals, like how do you measure progress, and if they are either on a short time scale or you aren't in a rush to make progress, it's not a race, then that also allows people to build out open ecosystems. Because if you open it, you collect more people to work in your direction, and that's a net good for you. Like the way I kind of describe, can we solve a problem with open model, open source, etc., is if there's 20 smart people anywhere in this world, like distributed under all corners of the world, and if they can do something, if they tried really, really hard, they're really smart and they're really hard, and there's no short-term pressure to deliver, like they can either do it as a hobby on the side or they burst in 2 to 4 weeks and they get a result. If those are the conditions that are met, surprising amount of problems that are extremely difficult get solved. But either like the timeline lags, if actually this thing is going to take a year or two of full-time dedicated work, it's gonna be hard to find people who will do it for free. I mean, people gotta live. Like, making money is essential, and you're not gonna have enough hours in the day to work for free. And if it's a large project where thousands of folks need to come together, it's much harder. It can be done, but it becomes a much harder condition. If there's a mild disregard for legality, openness generally thrives. And lastly, capitalism co-opted into an open constraint can generally help openness thrive greatly. Like, the way you can think about it is, greed is a powerful scaling factor. And using that in the right way, it can be very, very beneficial. So how do we, so some of these conditions were lost. I think I mentioned already that, I don't think I mentioned, but like for the state-of-the-art AI models, whether they're general generative AI models or vertical generative AI models, you kind of need a lot of resources with very short timelines, and you need maybe hundreds or thousands of folks to come together. And this is not a great place to be if you want openness to thrive. So how do we restore the conditions for openness to thrive? The first thing that I propose is called OpenSync. And I will describe the problem and then describe what exactly needs to be done. So just take language models to keep it simple. So you have internet data or private data going into pre-training, and then that afterwards goes into post-training where expert data or synthetic data, and then it goes into some front ends where humans are giving feedback and it's getting improved further. That's roughly like the formula, right? It needs money and resources and talented individuals. Pre-training is kind of, the money is funded by billionaires or VCs. They're burning money. Also known as the GPU rich, with a lot of green NVIDIA things around. And you, right, and then you have, pre-training also has some laptop heroes. I call them laptop heroes. Like, these are the Reddit persona I mentioned earlier, where it's like they have a laptop and they're furiously like doing things, and they're trying to save the internet. And that's the kind of like persona I have. There's some amount of them in pre-training, but largely not. But there's a lot of them in post-training. A lot of fine-tuned models of various kinds are doing the arbitrage between where the release models are and where a particular task can be improved. They also happen to be GPU poor. I don't know how many people are familiar with the open LLM movement going on, but apart from the models that are being released by various labs, industrial, small startups, and so on, there's a bunch of front ends for, say, chatbots and things like that are built. And these front ends, they hook into the models, and they're kind of like the free open source light version of ChatGPT or Claude or things like that. And the front ends, like they basically have a model runtime, they have UI code, they have the hosted model, and they have hosting the front end binary itself. That's roughly what's inside these front ends. And the cost of building and distributing this front end, if you're doing this as a side project, is zero. You can basically host your binaries on GitHub, your models on Hugging Face, and then you can reuse a bunch of open source software. Now, where this breaks is you see those red lines. The red lines where human feedback can come into these front ends, but it never gets to post-training. Because to store human feedback, the cost of distribution becomes greater than $0. Whenever the cost of distribution is greater than zero, even if it's a trivial amount, development in open source comes to a halt.